Hey everybody, Alex Kazora, SteelersDepot.com, back with some more Pittsburgh Steelers tape breakdown and analysis. You know we got to talk about our Russell Wilson's debut, a strong showing in a 37-15 win overall for the Pittsburgh Steelers against the New York Jets on Sunday night. Bit of a slow start, but certainly a great end. Let's talk about it. Before we start, if you guys could like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the site, SteelersDepot.com, would really appreciate that. So we're going to talk about some of the passing and the moon balls and the vertical passing game that we saw from Wilson in this game, but I want to start with some of the intangibles that Wilson brought that won't show up on the stat sheet, but certainly play a role. And it can be hard to know exactly levels of autonomy and freedom the Fields had versus what Wilson had, but you can assume that a veteran like Wilson has a bit more leeway than somebody like Justin Fields. So first play of the game, we're going to see Wilson make this check at the line. You can hear it. All 22, unfortunately, does not offer audio, but I know there was a check here. You heard it audibly from Wilson, and you see him tap his helmet with both hands. I can't say for sure, but I think this was flipping the run from the left to the right. You're going to see Wilson tap his helmet, and then you see Connor tap his helmet on the right side as well. I'm guessing flipping the run here away from the linebackers, more towards the DB, running this one weak side. It's decently blocked. It's 4 yards. It's not a 20-yard gain, but your offense staying on schedule here. You're in 2nd and 6, and you're trying to get the drive going. And so just some of that freedom. And again, it's tough to really tell and know exactly what freedom Fields had and did not have, but I can assume that there was more freedom that Russell Wilson possessed and had in this game to make some of those checks. And I think one issue that Pittsburgh had, and it's impossible to really prove, I think Pittsburgh was running into some bad fronts early in the season because of some of the limitations and restrictions placed on Justin Fields to get out of some bad situations. In this case, we're seeing them make a check here, and it turns into a nicely blocked play for a 4-yard gain. I think the single biggest element that Wilson brought in this game and will continue to bring as he starts for the Steelers is play action. Knowing how often and how frequently Arthur Smith uses it, which he's done all year. It's always been a hallmark of his offenses in Tennessee and in Atlanta. Pittsburgh was just miserable in utilizing play action in the first 6 weeks for a variety of reasons, but I think it wasn't because the run game wasn't successful. You don't have to have a great run game necessarily to have effective play action. You have to sell play action. You have to make the defense think the run is coming, and the fakes just weren't good enough. And I think Wilson has a bigger advantage in selling play action and selling the fake better than what Fields displayed. This is a great example of this here. Early in this game, the first completion that Russell Wilson had as a Pittsburgh Steeler, a 15-yard gain to tight end Darnell Washington. Now, this is a staple concept. Pittsburgh runs this a dozen times, a game essentially, and they dress it up in different ways, but it's just, boot action. You get a flat, get a crosser coming from backside, and usually some type of kind of corner route as a vertical clear out. It's a low-high read. The flat's the first read. If it's not there, you're looking crosser coming backside, and potentially if it just happens to be super open, you can hit the corner route downfield. So just watch the fake here. Watch the play action be carried out by Wilson, and watch the corner really bite on this. I think he's got flat responsibility on this play. The insert block from Pruitt helps a little bit too, but just watch this really good fake back turn, ball extended out, like you're really selling this one. And that corner's keying it. There's no receiver to his side, so he's just really keying in on the backfield, and he is just suckered in here, like with probably the insert block as well, like this is a run, and that gets Washington wide open in the flat. You're seeing 3 Jets defenders between the hashes. They're really bunched up. The play fake works really well. Good touch from Wilson throwing it over the end man, who's intentionally, purposely unblocked on this play, and it turns into a 15-yard gain and a first down for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And so really good fake overall, and I saw that consistently from Wilson in this game. I'll put up on screen here in just a second some of the stats. This is from PFF, their initial charting of Wilson on play action, and the Fields column is going to be what we've charted, our Tom Mead does for Steelers Depot on play action. Big difference in terms of completion percentage, and especially in yards per attempt. Quarterback rating, much more successful from Wilson in play action than Fields had been so far, and that is a game changer for this offense. We'll see play action here for the first moon ball that Russell Wilson had to George Pickens at the bottom here. And even things like cadence. I just want to mention this quickly. Again, you can't hear the audio, but there was a hard count that Wilson does right here. You see him kind of, bob down, and that D tackle jumps a little bit. Now, there's no offsides on the play, but the first thing I noticed about Wilson whenever back in training camp, he took his first 11 on 11 reps was the cadence, just how much louder, how much more vocal, how much more effective that cadence was. And you didn't have to look up to know who was taking reps in camp once Wilson got pretty healthy to know who was in the game. You could just hear it, and the voice and the cadence and the impact that has is a big difference as well. But anyway, going to watch play action here. Moonball to Pickens at the bottom. They're going to get kind of a rotation here at safety. They're running this Yankee concept. They're going to cross it. The safety's going to take Pat Frymuth. Other safety's going to take Jefferson on the over route. You're getting one-on-one downfield to George Pickens on Eccles. It's not Sauce Gardner, so we're also in a favorable matchup. You probably throw that either way. There was a couple deep balls to Gardner thrown in this game, but you get that moon ball that's high arcing. Wilson certainly in this game showed more touch than Justin Fields. Deep passes that, while Fields has a live arm and arm strength is not a concern at all, there's certainly much more of an arc on Wilson's throws. Fields are more line drivers, and these are kind of more fly balls for those guys to come down with. Some people thought this was underthrown, and maybe it is a little bit. I think it's a good throw. I think you throw this one outside shoulder, only where Pickens can get it. Do you want it to be perfectly downfield over his shoulder? Yeah, but this is like 50 yards at this point, and I think the placement is good overall. Let Pickens make the play. But, Wilson knew his playmakers and knew to get the ball to Pickens, and in these single coverage 1v1 situations, throw it up, I think with good placement, let Pickens make the play. He's going to make it more than most. Simple one, another play action, a boot out here to the left. They're going to false key by pulling Saymalu and tight end Darnell Washington, just dealing with the pressure. And certainly Wilson does not have the mobility to run away from the unblocked defender. Again, intentionally here, you're hoping the play action does get him to crash down. Doesn't happen here, but how do you adjust to that? And you see Wilson drop the arm angle kind of to a half slot and be able to get this throw off to Pat Frymuth. Does a great job here post-catch, getting good blocks downfield by Van Jefferson. George Pickens getting involved. Kudos there. Turns into a 30-yard gain. So just watching, you're in trouble. Supposed to boot out here cleanly. Defender does not take the cheese here. We're going to drop that arm slot down a little bit, get this ball out under pressure, make a strong, accurate yak throw. Receiver, in this case tight end, does not have to break stride, and we're getting a ton of yak the other way. Again, play action, super effective in this game, more so than it had been throughout the first 6 weeks of the season. So nice job here by Wilson to adjust and still make the play. Wilson just being able to read pre-snap. Now, I don't think he's ever been known as a great, super high IQ Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Drew Brees kind of guy, and probably he's not the most anticipatory thrower in NFL history, but you're just reading coverages here. And I don't know if this motion was designed or if Wilson made a check here. It probably was more part of the play call. But point is, you're getting George Pickens here, low red zone, ball at the 11, one-on-one, really no safety apparent over the top here. This DB stays shallow underneath, and so you're getting definitely one-on-one outside release here. It's Pickens versus the DB. Again, that's not Sauce Gardner. I think he was hurt in this moment on a pass interference a play or two before, and so he's off the field. The Jets were really hemorrhaging DBs. Eccles has played for them. He's not new, but still, you like the matchup. You're one-on-one. You throw this one up. Let Pickens make the play. And maybe just a touch underthrown. Like to see that kind of over the shoulder, more to the outside than kind of the inside shoulder. But you're reading the matchup here. You're taking advantage. You're being decisive based on the pre-snap read. And just let Pickens contest. And that's a guy that can do it as well as anybody in football. Good release here from Pickens. Good track. Great catch. It's a touchdown. Last clip we'll look at on the positive side, and a similar situation here. Jets here in an aggressive look. What's the down and distance? Let me double check what this was. Third down? Maybe, yeah, 3rd and 5. So the Jets are going to kind of go into their bag. They're a defensive-minded team with former head coach Robert Saleh, former DC, the current interim head coach. Jeff Ulbrich was their defensive coordinator, and so they're going to start to bring some pressure looks, some different looks here. They're going to play a lot of man coverage in those pressure situations on 3rd down. And so you're getting man coverage, throw away from the safety, you get one-on-one to the outside, get this pick here that gets Freiermuth open, and he makes a great one-handed snag for that catch. And so watch pre-snap here. And Pittsburgh did this entire game. The Jets had a terrible game plan. I want to give certainly Pittsburgh and Wilson credit, but man, the Jets were just a mess. They got picked and rubbed the entire game. These DBs on the same level. And so you're really opening yourself up to being, rubbed and picked and having to deal with this kind of traffic as opposed to being on different levels where this corner might be playing off or the nickel might be playing off a little bit. So they're just kind of more natural way to avoid getting picked and running into each other. And so Pittsburgh just running this kind of little pick play. Van Jefferson running the curl underneath, sets it. Frymuth running underneath. Number 2 becomes new number 1. Kind of a slot fade down the outside there. And it's a great read there by Wilson, knowing where to go with the ball against this pressure look, because you don't know how well your protection will hold up. Will they send more people than you can block? You're not 100% sure on that, but you like the matchup on the outside. Confidence you're going to get man here. That's confirmed right off the snap of the football. The DB's on the same level. Put this one up a little out in front, but let your guy make a play. Trust your guy to make a play. Wilson really showed a ton of trust in his guys in this one. And it's good protection, too. I want to shout out the protection. Just look at that here quickly. Jaylen Warren, so good in pass pro. Maybe the best running back in football in pass pro. You just see guys, that's like that old drill they run, backs on backers in training camp. And that's that moment here. It's a great job by the line overall. Wilson put it up, high arcing throw. Let your receiver find it, track it, and go make the play. To finish things out, just 2 clips of things to work on. These both came early, and so you can certainly probably more attribute this to rust. And this is a guy that had not played a regular season game since Christmas Eve last year, and so you would expect some growing pains early. Unfortunately, Pittsburgh able to overcome that. Getting one-on-one to the top of the screen. Wilson trying to throw this, I guess, kind of back shoulder. Gardner, I think he kind of hit Pickens in the helmet there. Could have been a call. Just probably a little too covered up here on this one. I'd work the trip side here. You got off coverage. If they're off, throw it underneath here to Van Jefferson. Get 5-6 yards and keep things going. So don't love the decision here. Just throw this one super contested. There really is no space, and it's not like a vertical ball where Pickens can really go up and get it. Not the ideal situation to make that throw there. Probably would have gone the other way based on the pre-snap look, that cornerback being so rolled up. It's not the worst thing in the world. Kind of get what he was trying to do there. Let that guy make a play on that back shoulder throw. Could have been a flag. Just would have probably gone elsewhere. And so just kind of working out some of the rust here to read this coverage. Probably should have gone here to the bottom. And then there were just some flat-out misses. I'm not really sure what happens here. It's an RPO, number 2 bubble to Calvin Austin, and the ball, I think, just came out of Wilson's hand. Weird, and this one was terribly behind, and I don't think would have been a fumble. Goes out of bounds either way. Don't believe it would have been. I think it was a forward pass. Yeah, that's forward enough. So not sure what happened there. 2nd and 8. Just a miss. And it was a bad sequence here. There was, I think, another miss on 3rd down. And so this team, was punting a lot early. I think at one point they had 3 straight 3-and-outs. And this one, you just got to have it, a routine type play where the ball just, I think, probably stuck and just didn't come out the right way. Obviously, for Wilson, don't think this one would have gone for many yards either way. Maybe a better idea to hand this off against a 6-man box on a 6-man line here with a tight end in. Too high look. Probably would be more apt to hand this one off, but not entirely sure what Wilson was reading. Getting a little power here as well. So just a bad throw, ugly throw, and that was kind of the rough patch to go through early. Just overall, though, things certainly calmed down and much better end of the game than how it started. So overall, I was impressed. I think the intangibles of Wilson in terms of cadence, communication, even things as simple as operation, which for Pittsburgh this year has not always been simple in terms of center-quarterback exchanges. When you have a center making his first start in Pittsburgh, his first start in 3 seasons, around McCollum, who I think on first blush played pretty well, so kudos to him. So it's new center, new quarterback. They didn't get a ton of time working together in training camp. Obviously, they got all this past week to work together, but just clean operationally, so that was good. The touch that Wilson showed on the deep ball was impressive and allowed his guys to go up there and make plays, even if not every single pass was perfect, which it wasn't. Play action was, to me, the difference maker. The effectiveness, the utilization of it was a big changer in Pittsburgh's benefit in this one. And just being able to read things pre-snap, know exactly where to go with the football. I know his snap-to-throw time was a little bit longer. Some of that came earlier, but there was still a level of decisiveness to Wilson in this game. So overall, Happy with the first start. Will it always be this good? Will they always put up 37 points? No, there's going to be some rough patches for sure, but happy with his first start, and you acknowledge that basically everything happened after the first quarter, and so hopefully it can only get better in a lot of ways and become a little more fluid and crisp from here. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you guys watching. Please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel and check out the site, SteelersDepot.com. Thank you again, and we'll talk to you soon.